What's something that people should stop normalizing? This always gets to me. There are two kinds of people at work: those that take a sick day off for a light headache or just outright skive, causing more work for others constantly. Then there are the people who come into work on death's door, potentially spreading what they have when they should be home resting, which makes other people sick who take time off or make other people sick. If you're sick, go home. If you're not sick, go to work. There is also the third kind of people, those who are genuinely ill and stay home. We get lumped in with the skivers usually. Some may worry about being bad-mouthed or treated badly by colleagues or management that they don't dare take the time off to recover the next time they are ill, therefore becoming the in-work germ spreaders. Generally, I find it's fellow workers making unwarranted comments about the sick time of others that causes the problem rather than management, but I'm sure it's the other way around for some. Overworking really has become a badge of honor, probably because sometimes it's rewarded. I've seen people get praise for working late from their leaders, things like, "Hey, I see the people who stay late when someone leaves hours after close." What if their time management just sucks? What if they're just catching up as a personal preference and it's not hard nor necessary? And heaven forbid, what if the person leaving on time wants to be with family or live life beyond work? This is the correct answer. So many people get sick days or personal days, etc. In my field, if you don't show up, you don't get paid. Like everyone else, I have bills to pay, so if I can work, I'm going to work. I do my best to avoid getting anyone else sick, but it doesn't always work. Realistically, my boss should pay me X amount of sick days a year, but I'm the one made to feel guilty even though I live paycheck to paycheck and they live vacation to vacation. I see your point. However, as far as the US goes, in my view, character flaws, that should be private and is nobody's business, are blown way out of proportion. Political flaws, like a voting record or support for strange ideas, is commonly swept under the rug. Example: President Clinton's legacy is receiving a blowjob. Not that he paved the road for the subprime mortgage crisis. The former is private and overexposed, the later isn't even broadly known. This is frequently a subject of complaint for my wife and I. I'm 28 and she's 27. We have been together for 10 extremely wonderful years, or we will be in November, and we've been married for over 6 of them. As unusual as it can be for people to meet so young and it work out, meeting her and getting married to her is the best thing that has ever happened to me. And I find it comforting and exciting that we still have so much time to spend together. Although I know it's likely partially because we are still quite young, we are often mistaken for newlyweds because we are so infatuated with each other. I'm one lucky man. We've both had experiences in which our coworkers have found it unusual that we're rushing home to see each other, or that we're enthusiastic about spending all of our time off with each other. It's concerning and sad. What's the point of spending your life with someone if you can't even stand spending an evening or a weekend with them? Had a rough talk with my parents the other day because they keep getting in very bitter arguments over dumb stuff. Basically, I told them, I can't sit here or listen to bickering and doors slamming much longer. You need to figure your shit out. You know what my dad told me? Married couples fight and bicker, it's normal. No. No, it isn't. I have a friend who seems to always end up in toxic relationships. I got into a serious relationship with my lovely girlfriend a little over a year ago. A few months ago he asked me if I had a fight with her yet. Seems like a normal thing to ask among close friends, but he asked me in a way that implied that it was expected that we should have had a fight by then. I guess it explains why he often have fights with his GF. He considers it a normal part of a relationship. So far I haven't had any fights with my GF. We disagree about things sometimes, but then we compromise or find alternatives instead of fighting about it. Students overwhelmed by homework when it isn't necessary. I'm excluding situations like when the workloads from classes are reasonable and happen to pile on one day, or students who aren't organized, etc. This whole thing is a gray area, but sleep, burnout, mental health exists. Adults kept telling me how work will be more stressful than school, so I should enjoy. Well, that was a lie. It feels so chill to just work your 8 hours and then be free for the rest of your day instead of studying almost 8 hours in school only to come home and stress about your homework. OFC, this also depends on your job, but that's in most cases up to you to choose whether you want a job that follows you home. I can confirm that to you. I'm 25 now and only working is so much easier for me than school and homework or university. I have free weekends, free afternoons and real vacation plus business trips that are a lot of fun. But I don't want kids that disturb me, this TBH. And, at the risk of undermining the efforts of students reading this, there is no evidence that regular homework is of any benefit. I talked to an acquaintance who is an educational researcher and she said there is squat evidence. The only time it helps is if there is a remedial necessity, and then only for limited periods. She said if you say we're deficient in the maths work being presented, then the best outcome was reached with a program of about a month to upskill to THW level being taught. Get that section, ensuring the fundamentals up to that point were met, then carry on, rinse and repeat if further issues arose. Not incessant hours every night. Homework should be of a remedial reactive nature. Fight me. It depends on what you are doing. At the high school level, if you are teaching a literature course, how can you get through novels without out-of-class readings? And while kids can write a timed rough draft in class, revisions never seem to work right. You need reflective time and your own space. For advanced classes that cover twice as much as a regular high school course, it's pretty much impossible to complete the curriculum in just the hours given. I feel like I got lucky with this because my schools, England, 90s to early 2000s, never really gave us that much homework. What's strange is that they always acted like the years ahead were going to be filled with more of it and that we were going to have to deal with organizing countless essays/projects/questions. But those evenings of endless work never actually showed up. Looking back, I think all of my teachers thought their colleagues were piling it on, so each one went easy with the homework they gave out, or maybe they just couldn't face marking all of it. The fact that we normalize paying $6K plus for a college class to be taught by a professor with no pedagogical skills. They don't give a shit about you learning, they're there to do their research and get published. Useless office hours, and a class full of theory and ego stroking with unnecessarily difficult assignments that frustrate, rather than teach. Also, you can get out in the world and learn. You really only needed the first few semesters of a CS program to do most jobs in the field. Proper education reform should be focused on a teaching skills-based approach, and most fields should be graduated in 2 years. The 4-year degree program that funds the faculty ivory towers needs to go. I'm getting horrible flashbacks from high school. I studied at a place where we were constantly overworked. I had classmates who'd brag they only get 3 hours of sleep a day. I once slept through a test because I was so exhausted. At one point I was trying to finish up a research project, editing a short film, writing a script for another class, and making a scrapbook while crying. They'd force us to join extracurricular activities even if it wasn't really related to our curriculum. We had to join a 2-day, Saturday and Sunday, camping trip in school, but we spent whatever free time we had just studying because we had tests on Monday. Our whole class got in trouble one time because we all skipped school, apart from one student who was kind of a teacher's pet, to catch up on all our assignments. It was awful. Cheating. So many love stories on Netflix, or just any sort of romance movie released these days have cheating involved in them so much. It's always branded as this romantic thing to do. Oh, like at this dark and brooding handsome guy with no personality. Time to fuck him and forget about my 2-year relationship, or some shit like that. It's not romantic, it's just wrong, and it should not be normalized. Oh God, this is so awful for so many reasons. We had a long and miserable road to parenthood, and for years I had to make sure I had a drink in my hand, regardless of if I actually felt like drinking or not, at every social gathering, lest someone start pestering me about being pregnant and send me into tears. There could be no other explanation. Dry January? Nope. Must be knocked up. Don't feel like it? Nope. You're hiding a pregnancy. Trying to be healthier? Just have a small glass. You won't? Must be pregnant. It's the classic duo of things that are none of your business. Why I'm not drinking and how knocked up I am or am not. People have gotten way worse over the past 3-ish years. At times before then you could actually talk about shit and sometimes people would change their minds. Now it's turned into the if you don't agree with me, you're a piece of shit. It can be about anything. Man, you don't like peanut butter. I love peanut butter. You should burn to death because you're a fucking piece of shit. That's literally the internet. People have just gotten way dumber as of late. I've been commenting on internet forums for the last 6 years when I wasn't even a teenager, and honestly, I've learned that it's easier to just ignore internet assholes than to expect any sort of change from them. The internet is great because you can comment about things without anyone knowing who you are, so you don't have this worry of what people will think or whatever, but that also goes the other way, and so this is a flaw of the internet that we should accept will always be here. It pisses me off to no end when people in a video game think it's okay to tell other people to kill themselves or something. When you speak out against it, all you get is you really care what someone in a game says, lol crime, or it doesn't matter. It fucking does. You don't know who's on the other side of that screen or what they deal with. It costs literally nothing to not be an asshole, and there is no excuse for it. I have a cousin who worked in Hollywood and started having some moderate success in the film industry. She said powerful men were shameless about the expectation of women having to tolerate sexual harassment and in some cases even trade sex for favors. She ended up leaving the film industry after she got to the highest point she could in her career with having to sleep her way to the top. It's insanely disturbing how commonplace that is in the entertainment world. Bless you for this. I wasn't expecting to see it at the top of this thread, but I'm glad it's here. I'm getting really tired of this attitude in reading spaces. It's especially irritating when they condemn the readers along with the writers, though I definitely don't think authors deserve condemnation for exploring different themes in their books. Like with the Black Witch incident, the way people were accusing others of racism for merely reading the book in order to contextualize it themselves was absolutely insane. And review bombing books before they even release for rumors about perceived moral wrongs? What kind of video games create violence bullshit is this? Why are young progressives copying their conservative parents' behavior? It's just as you said. If we keep discouraging authors and readers to explore unconventional themes, the only art we'll have left is Hays Code era bullshit. And that's not really art at all. It's not thoughtful, it's just clean and correct. As a creation, I've always been taught to love and care, and I've always had that nature anyways. But then my fellow cretins would hate and be angry and insult others that were wrong. When I first met people of the LGBTQ+ kind, it confused me so much, because they were just so normal. Now, as an adult, I fully understand things. Absolutely accurate. I can't imagine the effect this is going to have on these girls' mental states as they age. The first thing I thought about was my cousin, who is now 19. Since she was about 15, she would post super age-inappropriate photos and get hundreds, if not thousands, of likes. Sexy poses, super revealing outfits, etc. Better makeup than any girl I knew in high school. She's always been really pretty and thin. Then, earlier this year, she got pregnant. From the beginning of her pregnancy to now, her likes, comments, etc. have tanked. This is a girl who never even came close to having less than several hundred likes on a post. And now it's like nobody gives a shit about her. I don't know how much it affects her. Maybe she likes it better that way? I don't know. All I know is that, if I had a handful of years where people were showering me with attention and then they suddenly just stopped, it'd really fuck with my head, especially as a teenage girl. The idea that a woman can slap a man if she's angry at him. But a man should never hit a woman regardless of the circumstances. The former is assault. Hitting people who aren't already involved in a physical altercation is never okay, regardless of the circumstances. The latter ties into that. If you are being attacked, the level of force you use in defense should be dependent on the danger you are in, which has almost nothing to do with the sex of your attacker. Both of these rely on the tired and sexist trope that women are meek little does who have not the physical strength nor moral turpitude to commit violence against the big, strong, tough men. They normalize assault and abuse and accordingly belong in the dustbin of history. I'm in a long-distance relationship, and the amount of people, random people, that have said to me you can just find someone here, fuck around, and ditch the guy. Why does it matter? It's not like he isn't cheating on you already or cheating is fine now. Not like he can find out anyways, haha. have some fun. Or the sole fact that BF's own parents try to get him to cheat on me or ditch me for someone else. Freaking no one takes in account that hey, maybe we care for each other and are happy together. Using mental illness as an excuse. I suffer from several, and it's very hard on me, but I get professional help and deal with it head-on. Reading constant posts every day about people having this disorder and that's why it's okay to act a certain way is demotivating. Awareness is important, but dozens of posts every day about having borderline personality disorder or bipolar disorder and why it's acceptable for you to be an asshole is not awareness. If you suffer from these so badly, please get help.